The game of Hollywood is a ruthless one. Navigating that world takes discretion and usually requires that you play by a set of largely unspoken rules. Some aren't very good at that. I'm Adam Andrews with Top 10 Nerd, and this is the top 10 celebrities Hollywood will most likely never hire again. Coming in at number 10 is Mel Gibson. For a time, Mel Gibson was one of the biggest, most talented actors and directors in Hollywood. Whether it was Mad Max, Lethal Weapon, or Braveheart, he was known for giving wild and unique performances that connected to audiences in a way that a lot of people just hadn't experienced before. But then, it went very much downhill. Following a 2006 arrest for driving under the influence, which was pretty commonplace for the actor during that time of his life, Gibson went on to make a pretty bad anti-Semitic rant accusing the Jewish people of instigating the world wars. And on top of that, fellow actress Winona Ryder, who describes herself as Jewish, accused Gibson of calling her an oven dodger at a 1996 party. But in 2010, it somehow got even worse. Gibson was recorded during a phone call with a Russian singer and songwriter, just going off using racial slurs and saying the most obscene stuff you have ever heard. All of that led to him being blacklisted for almost a decade. As an actor, he may never ever get much more work in Hollywood, but surprisingly, he has found a way back in as a director and producer. Coming in at number 9 is Katherine Heigl. Having won an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Grey's Anatomy in 2007, actress Katherine Heigl was expected to be nominated for the award in 2008, but instead, and interestingly, Heigl pulled out. On the topic, she said, quote, "I did not feel that I was given the material this season to warrant an Emmy nomination, and in an effort to maintain the integrity of the Academy organization, I withdrew my name from contention." But in this world, that decision was understandably interpreted as criticism of Grey's Anatomy creator, head writer, and executive producer Shonda Rhimes. Then, from that moment on, her on-set behavior became a large talking point in the gossip world. She was apparently known as someone that was hard to work with. When speaking to David Letterman in 2009 about the new season of Grey's Anatomy, she said, quote, "Our first day back was Wednesday, and it was, I'm going to keep saying this because I hope it embarrasses them, a 17-hour day, which I think is cruel and mean." And yeah, a 17-hour day is long as hell, but according to journalist Ken Levine, quote, "What she neglected to add was this. This cruel shooting schedule was only to accommodate her and her needs. The producers graciously shuffled things around so she could go off and do promotion for her new film. Also, with union rules, the producers had to pay a ton of overtime and penalties to make this happen. The thanks they get is Katherine Heigl going on national television hoping to embarrass them." Now, Katherine took a hit, but she was still getting roles in various films until, in March 2010, Heigl reportedly didn't show up for work on Grey's Anatomy. Shonda Rhimes reached an agreement to release her immediately from her contract, and just like that, she never returned to the show. There was also a public statement she made about enjoying working on Judd Apatow's Knocked Up, but she really disliked the portrayal of the female characters in the film, which, I mean, yeah, they weren't portrayed in the greatest light. Basically, she spoke her mind on quite a few topics, and that got her labeled as ungrateful, rude, and ultimately gave her a reputation that still hasn't quite recovered. And at number 8, Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash had a rise up to fame when she appeared in Clueless and the Fox News show Outnumbered, but this fame lasted a rather short amount of time. Stacey very openly voted for Barack Obama back in 2008, but sometime between then and 2012, she made a pretty big shift and began to be very outspoken about her conservative views. Now, obviously, there's nothing wrong with being a conservative, but when you're in the public view and you start doing outrageous things like calling for the end of Black History Month, people are not going to be happy about it. And that thing in particular got her fired from Fox News. But to keep things going even more, in 2016, she made controversial comments about transgender people, putting her in even more of a bad position. And at number 7 is Kirk Cameron. Kirk Cameron is hardly known as an actor anymore, and more known these days for his radical Christian views, but Kirk was a child star appearing in film and TV, with his most notable appearances being as Mike Seaver in the sitcom show Growing Pains for 7 seasons. But now, like I said, Kirk basically speaks all day long about his beliefs toward religion, homosexuals, and more, which has led him to essentially become blacklisted from Hollywood. Whether he is doing interviews on TV shows or social media, Cameron cannot seem to keep his religious views and beliefs out of the discussion. And while it's fine to have any view you want, you gotta pick and choose your battles wisely, especially in Hollywood. And at number 6, Roseanne Barr. Actress and comedian Roseanne Barr, loved for her self-titled show opposite John Goodman, has been a controversial supporter of Donald Trump's presidency, which doesn't mean she's blacklisted, but the 11 words she tweeted in May 2018 that managed to reference President Obama senior advisor Valerie Jarrett, the science fiction film Planet of the Apes, and the Muslim Brotherhood, that one did manage to get her blacklisted. Even though she deleted the tweet and apologized within hours, ABC killed its most popular show of 2018, her show, and Barr is not likely to be offered much more going forward. Number 5. Monique. This Hollywood blacklisting is actually an incredibly interesting one. Instead of doing something overtly offensive or committing a crime or anything like that, comedian and actor Monique instead refused to play the Hollywood game. Monique is a comedian and actor who first gained attention for her stand-up shows and for her role in The Parkers, which ran from 1999 to 2004. But back in 2009, she won an Academy Award for supporting actress in Lee Daniels' film Precious. The problem came when she had a less than stellar Oscar campaign for that award, meaning she refused to do the promotional work and play the Hollywood political game, which left Hollywood with a bad taste, and her movie career as an actor dried right up. But she still kills it as a comedian, so she's got that. Number 4, Charlie Sheen. I don't even really need to explain this one. Most people remember 2011 for Charlie Sheen's huge public meltdown. At one time, he was one of the highest paid TV actors on the planet, but now, Sheen is mostly remembered for #winning, Tiger Blood, and the large amount of extremely odd interviews he took part in while clearly not in a #winning state of mind. He lost his job on 2.5 Men, which was paying him almost $2 million per episode, and he was seen as a man who had clearly lost his marbles after decades of substance abuse. Now looking back on it now, he is filled with regret and has certainly grown from it all, but after those events, it's highly unlikely his career will ever bounce back. Coming in at number 3, Armie Hammer. Hammer appeared on Arrested Development in 2005, Veronica Mars in 2006, and Desperate Housewives in 2007, and on 4 episodes of Gossip Girl in 2009. He got his big break in late 2009 playing the Winklevoss twins in The Social Network. Now after starring in The Lone Ranger in 2013, which fell completely flat, Armie appeared in more well-received films like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. in 2015 and Nocturnal Animals in 2016. And then he broke ground starring opposite Timothée Chalamet in Call Me By Your Name in 2017, and he was consistently finding work. But in July of 2020, Armie and his wife Elizabeth Chambers filed for divorce after his wife learned of multiple incidents where the actor had been unfaithful. And then, in January 2021, an Instagram account called House of Effie started sharing messages seemingly from Hammer which, while unverified, detailed all kinds of bizarre and not safe for work fantasies. I can't go into direct detail for risk of being demonetized, but let's just say that Armie may be a vampire, or he might be a zombie. Nom nom nom, that's all I'm gonna say. You'll figure it out. Obviously, various gossip pages took this information and ran with it, which then prompted more stories from multiple different women with their own experiences of Hammer and the similar screenshots of messages to prove it. Since the controversy and the online backlash that followed, Hammer dropped out of the movie Shotgun Wedding and the limited series The Offer. And then The Hollywood Reporter broke the news that in February of 2021, the actor was also dropped by his agency. But that's not all. In March of 2021, a 24-year-old woman named Effie claimed that Hammer had physically mistreated her during a 4-year-long relationship that the two had. This brought his career even further into crumbles. He then checked into a rehabilitation center in the Cayman Islands in May of 2021, leaving in December of that year, and while he has appeared in Death on the Nile in February, he was scrubbed from marketing materials and no other projects are currently planned, with very few likely to come up soon. Coming in at number 2, it's Ezra Miller. Oh man, where do we even start here? Okay. Ezra Miller had been having a really good, steady climb up the ladder of Hollywood, killing it in Perks of Being a Wallflower, getting a large role in the Fantastic Beasts series, and all set to star in The Flash as the lead superhero. But then, Miller seemed to go off the deep end. Now, they have recently issued a public apology saying that they are suffering from complex mental health issues, but there have been a string of incidents that will likely ultimately mean that we may not see much from the actor going forward. Starting in 2020, a video appeared of Miller appearing to choke a woman outside a bar in Iceland. Apparently, this stemmed from a joke that quickly and obviously got out of hand. Then, in March of 2022, Miller was arrested and charged after Miller got agitated by people singing karaoke at a bar in Hawaii, which led to the actor yelling obscenities, getting physical, and lunging at a woman. Then, in that same month, also in Hawaii, Miller got a restraining order filed against him by a couple after they burst into their home, threatened the male victim, and then stole some of their belongings, including social security cards, a wallet, passport, license, and bank cards. The next month, in April, the actor was charged and arrested after they got upset and threw a chair that struck a 26-year-old woman in the forehead. Then, we fast forward to June, when Miller is accused of manipulating, controlling, and quote, grooming a young woman named Dakota Iron Eyes from the age of 12 years old, which was followed that same month by another parent who sought legal action after Miller, quote, menaced their family and acted inappropriately with their child. Then it went to a whole nother level in August, when Ezra was accused of burglary and a woman and her children that the actor was housing were served an emergency care order by police. So, as you can probably tell, the whole thing is a lot, even by Hollywood standards. Who knows what the future will hold for Ezra Miller, but I doubt it will be Hollywood success for a hot minute at least. And in at the #1 top spot, it's Amber Heard. The Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial from 2022 was a whole event. It was streamed online for millions of people to tune in, and I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think that's kind of weird, but whatever. Even those that didn't tune in heard about it and learned of this long tale of accusations and defamation and physical altercation. I just made a rhyme. In light of the extremely public trial which Heard lost, her career is taking a massive hit. But this all really started when the pair ended their marriage in 2016 and Heard filed a restraining order against Depp, and the whole thing was majorly compounded with a Washington Post op-ed where Heard described herself as a, quote, public figure representing domestic abuse. And while she didn't name Johnny Depp specifically, it was the only option, and it affected his career tremendously, with the actor being dropped from his appearance in Pirates of the Caribbean 6. The back and forth between these two has actually been going on for a long time, with multiple trials throughout the years, but the one in 2022 was the one that seemingly was the end of things. And it's a bit of a win-lose for both Amber and Johnny in different ways. Of these two actors, Johnny Depp has obviously a majorly more successful career, and with that he has a much larger group of supporters, which, compounded by his win, means he will likely make a comeback even if it won't be on the scale of past projects. Because of everything aired out for the world to see, they will both take a hit, like I said, but because of her lack of an impactful career so far, and the way the public perceived her during the trial, Amber Heard is likely to have a very little footing in Hollywood for a long time. And that's all the time we've got for today. I've been Adam Andrews, and this is Where Are They Now? Catch y'all on the flippy flop. Peace out.